Hello, my name is Toby and I'm going to show you some Ruby on Rails. We're going to start from nothing and make a working app, and that'll be sort of introductory stuff for Ruby on Rails. Now, my friend has come up with an idea for a web app, so we're going to make it for him together. So here we go. This is his idea. Now he's a Bible minister in a church, and he has people in his congregation. Let's go to this one. He has people in his congregation that don't speak English, and they speak other languages. And what he'd like to do is be able to use Google Translate to get his sermon into whatever language they speak. Okay, and also you get the Bible reference, and he can collect from perhaps BibleGateway.com or another online source the text of the Bible in the language of that person. So the version here would select that Bible version should correspond to the language. So many languages have lots of different Bible versions to choose from, different translations to that language. So basically he puts in the title, the Bible reference, the text, chooses the language and the Bible version, clicks translate, and it gives him a PDF with that translated sermon and Bible text in it. And then if we were to go to stage 2 on this, it would involve the user would log in, and this stuff would be remembered for him here, because you might have a user with different people with different languages in their congregation, and they want to translate the sermon into a bunch of different languages. So the names of those people, their languages, and the versions of the Bible they like to read, and then that's remembered each time. So they just need to put the text in, put the reference in, click translate. So you can add new people in there as well, and it will give them one big fat PDF file with all of the translations in. So he needs to just click print once, and he's got them printed out. So it's just time saver, really. It's quite simple app. Here we should be able to build it. So let's get started on that. Okay, put me over there. So we're going to use Ruby on Rails. I'm not going to show you how to install Ruby on Rails. You can look somewhere else for that. Let's assume you've got it installed. I'm going to make a directory for it. Let's call it sermon translator. Okay. And then I think now it's been a while since I've done this. Let's see if this works to initialize a Rails. No. Okay. So we just, I'm just going to show you what happens when I struggle through this. New, that's what we want. Oh, okay. Something like this. Rails new. Whoops. Sermon translator. Okay, so Rails creates all the bits and pieces for us. It creates quite a lot of stuff. It's a big sort of framework for web applications, and it's now running something that installs the various bits it collects. So Ruby uses things called gems, which is like just libraries, and it's going to install the libraries. So it's finally done, and it installed the various gems, and it's given me a little yay because things seem to be worked out okay. So now I'm going to use this thing called RubyMine as my IDE. Rails doesn't have many good IDEs to choose from, but this is a good one if you can get hands on it. But with Rails, it's quite easy to develop without an IDE. It's not a big deal. I was using Sublime Text before I got into RubyMine, and it was no problems, quite fine. So you can do that. Let's open our project. Okay, So here we are. Now I'm not like a super experienced coder. It's not my full-time job. It's just part of my job. So that's why I'm not really smooth and quick on everything. Sorry about that. This is the your new app. So basically, the gem file is the list of all the gems or libraries that gets installed, and if you change that, you just run bundle install and it will reset up your gems. Inside the app folder here, you have various things called models and controllers, and we'll talk about that, and views. Models, controls, and views are really the main things here. And config has something called roots. Now this is okay. This is the important part of the thing, because roots is what happens, is the first thing that happens in your Rails app when somebody goes and sends a web request to your app. The roots is the thing that works out what to do with it. So generally what it does is it sends the web requests to a controller, and the controller has methods in it which are called actions, so whichever action you want to do for web request, you can sort out the roots in here. It's quite sort of straightforward. There's a different syntax that you can use to do it. So root is the root. So what we'll do is we'll run the app and see what happens. And let's do that. So it's running. Oh, sorry, the font is so small here. You probably can't even read it. It says it's running on this web address. Can I open it? Let's go to it. Yes, it's that web address. Okay, welcome on board to Ruby on Rails, and it tells you how to get started. So we're going to set up a root to do that. So we're going to use the generate command to generate some code. Let's do that. Where am I? Let's go down here. Okay. So I'm going to set up let's go to terminal. Can't even read this. I'm going to go to the other terminal. I just made the font a bit bigger for the terminal so you can read it. Now, what I'm going to type is bundle exec rake. So rake is like a Ruby make sort of thing. It runs these sort of things, and we'll just there's one called roots which is there, so it should show us you don't have any roots. Yeah, let's do something like this. What am I going to do? Make a controller. Yes, that's what I was going to do. So I'll generate a controller called static pages. Okay. So I generated the controller. It's put in some code. These are the things it's generated. So with a controller, you can put particular CSS for it in there. You can put particular JavaScript in for it. So in this one, which is CoffeeScript, it's like JavaScript. So the controller is there that we've made. Here it is. And it's also generated a view folder for views, which is empty, which relate to that controller. So So the way a controller works, when it gets it has in it the actions, like I said, and then it'll usually call a view, which is we'll see what that is later. And it's also created the tests. So we've got tests, controller tests. So it's got so here's a controller test. We need to fill in the tests for the controller. Okay. I'm going to make an action which is just going to be called home. So just define a method in the controller, and there it is. That's the action. Okay, by default, if I don't do anything in that action, it will just by default call the find in here. A file with the corresponding name, home.html. .erb is an ERB, which is like the Ruby interpreter goes over the file, like just like PHP. You can stick Ruby code in. Okay. Let's just put something in. That we got it. Okay, hello world. We'll do that. Okay. Okay, and now the root. So the root is going to be root. Okay, it's going to be the controller name is static pages, and then we use a hash, and the action name's home. That's going to be our root. Save that, and we'll go back to our thing, and we'll see if that actually worked. Oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Oops, let's do that. There. Okay, so we've got our Rails working. It's actually doing the right thing. So this is the root of the application, and so so let's just check the roots again. There it is. It's a get. It gets that. It takes us to this controller, and the action home. So when that happens, here it is. It does this, and nothing happens here. But then what happens is the controller renders the view, which is this view. Static pages home, and under views, was it there? View, and that will give us the what we see. Now let's look at the source of this. We have a title in there, gets put in, and these links to various different style sheets. So why does it put this title in like that, which we see up there? I don't know if you can see that. There it is. Because of a something called, I think what's it? Layouts. Yeah, under layouts, under views, you have this is what happens. It actually uses this application thing, which yields to the other view, gets inserted in the body, and so you got the front. So we can change things up here. We'll leave them as they are right now. So now what we want to do is we're going to just try and do this bit. There it is. That we're going to get that and send it to Google Translate, and we're going to get a response. Okay, so let's go to our, what we're going to do is put in a form. Now this is where I'm going to start inserting Ruby code. So this will let me put in Ruby code, and it will, with the equal sign, it will render it in the page, the output of the code. And Ruby on Rails lets you have all these cool shortcuts. So I'm going to use form tag, and that will take, I can form tag, so we'll create a form. I think I need to do it like a, yeah. So let's look how we use form tag. And here we go. So we take the URL for options, and okay, example. So this is where it's going to send to, and we can have a do, and this is going to be the contents of the form. Okay, so that's simple. So we're going to send it to. So what we're going to do is we'll just put another action in here, and it's going to be let's just call it translate. What we're going to do is we're just going to let's call it translation, and we'll put in the translation there. So let's see. Yep, okay, good. So in home, now we need to make a root for that new action. So put it into roots. Here we go. Root, and this is going to be a post root. So here we do that. Sorry. Post. So we say post. And translate, and that's going to take us to the static pages. Yes. Controller and the translation action. Okay. And we can give it a name. You can say as give it a name, translate, so that you can name your roots. It's quite handy. See how you name it. We give it let's give it a name like that, and then it will create in Rails. You can use URL or path or whatever under the name, and it will find it. So what I mean, let's show you how that works. So here, and we're going to take the there it is, translate path. Okay, so that's where it's going to send. Okay, we've got our form, and then we want to put in a submit button. So how do you do that with the, oops, go up here. Let's bring me. So how do we put in a submit button? What we do is we find the documentation. So Rails form helpers, and you can see this is better documentation. So submit tag, that's what I want. That, stick that in. Leave me behind. Hello, I'm coming down. Okay, let's put it in here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so whoops, put that. There's a submit button which will submit to our controller, which will render then this page. So let's see if that is going to work. There's a button and there's a page. Great, so we got that working. It's time for me to get some lunch. So back from lunch, we're going to I think that this controller's name is not right, so I wonder if we can just change that. Refactor, rename. I think it should be an everything controller. I think we're just gonna stick with one controller for now. Let's see if that. Yeah, it's found it in various places, so we'll do the refactor. Okay, we check out roots here. Yep, so we've got that right. Now, what are we doing now? We want to put in our form a text area. Now I think for some reason text area tag. It's just I think, well, let's see, maybe just give it a name like this. I'm not sure if that will work. And let's see what happens. Back to the there's a text area. Okay. Okay, so let's just look at the logs. What's going on here? So it's gonna so it's small. Now here's the parameters that got passed when we sent. Oh, it worked. So this sermon is hello world. There we go. So that got passed as parameters to the controller, which is this one, to this action in the controller. You see there. So what we're going to do is we're going to first of all, we'll just create an instance variable called translation. And right now we're just going to assign it the param. So there's the params come in a nice little array, and we put the put it there. Okay, and then because it's an instance variable here, you can see, then that means the view has access to it. So I'm going to, where's this view? And so I'm going to put it in, I'm just going to put it straight in. So we haven't translated anything yet. There it is. Okay, so let's see if that works. All right. There we go, so that worked. So everything is just easy so far. We're going to get to the hard part soon, because now we want to somehow get this translated by Google Translate. Now I have got myself an API key for Google Translate. We have, so we're going to look at the web browser for a bit, so we're going to go over here. We have, so here we go. This is how we use Google Translate. This is the URL, and we put in our key, and we put in the source language, which will be English. We put in the target language. We put in the text we're translating. So let's just try it over here. Let's just go like this. Okay. My API key is here. Okay, and I will duly change that key after I've made the video. I don't want you to know it. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, now we don't get our translation because it says access is not configured, and it just tells us to go to this. That's my project number related to my API key. Let's just see what happens when I do that. Okay. Thank you. Oh, you know what? I've gone in the wrong me. The wrong me. Google. It's great that you can have lots of Google accounts, and you do, but just did that work? Let me try and do that again. No, go on, I'm going to do switch person. Don't do that. Okay, try again. That's the right me. Okay. Enable. That's what I need. Great. Now, stop that. Okay. Let's see if it translates, and it translates to German. There we go. It works. Oh, all right. Now what? So we're gonna translate. So what we're gonna do now is we could just send a request from here. No, not from here, from the controller. I would send a request from this controller. But before I do that, I've actually looked up at this gem here, which is called HTTP party, which is it's going to simplify doing this sort of thing. And since our app is the kind of thing that sends off and uses APIs from other places, we're going to use this to help us. So it's very easy. We just add the gem. Let's add the gem to our gem file. Through there here. Gem HTT party. Ooh, there it is. Is that what we should do? I think that's what we should do. So now we do bundle install. Here we go. And it's using, and there's installing something there. Okay, when you HTTP party, you must party hard. So let's take note of that. There it is, it's installed at that 0.14.0. Okay, and now I think I can use it. How do we use it? I just say httparty.get. So httparty.get, and then we put in our stuff. So anyway, so I put them in here. This, now I'm going to get this to be sorry, now I want response to be from there, and I think the response is going to be from this httparty get is just going to be a hash, an array. Now this is a problem. I will need to encode this. So how do we encode it? Maybe something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just going to check though. URI.encode by URI. Okay, I'm going to try that. URI.encode. Alright, just capital URI. Right, let's try it. So then we get the response, and then we want to assign what do we assign? Translations, data, translations, translated text. Okay. Okay. Translated text. Okay. Does that look right? No, not like that. That. Let's see if it works. Probably got something wrong here. Yes. Initialize constant everything controller. HTTP party. Oh, because I forgot to put the got to put the. I'm sure I have to require it or something or other. What does it say here? Alright. Okay, add require HTTP party where appropriate to include it in your scripts. Do that. Okay. No, something's gone wrong. Why can't I? What did I do wrong? HTTP party. So I think maybe this is only for people who don't use a bundler. I'm not sure. Let me just see if I got this right. So we don't know what's going on. Okay, well, I'm out of time for today, so I'll return to this later. I'm back again, and this is I found the problem that was going on, and it's the same problem I have basically every time I forget to restart the Rails server. So that's from installing a new gem to restart the Rails server. So really, this should say when you HTTP party, you must party hard and you must restart the Rails server. And I don't need this. Restart that. Let's see if that is genuinely the solution to my problem. What are we doing here? There you go. And we have a translation into German. Okay, so now you might have noticed in here I just put German, I hard-coded that. Here I've hard-coded the translate key, the Google API key, into the source code, which I shouldn't, because I'll be publicly posting this source code, so I'll need to find another way to put it in. So I will get to that. But so far so good. We've got a also, you know, there's probably a better way to build a URI than this. This URI class probably has some functionality that we don't have to do this sort of string concatenation, but that's okay, it works. Alright. So probably the next thing to do is to get this passed in from the user interface, the translation language. But I want to alert you to one other thing as well. I'm not sure what we should accomplish first, but in the Translate API FAQ, we have this problem down. Maximum number of characters per request is actually only 5,000 characters. Now that's probably about half a sermon. So really we need to sort of chunk the sermon text before we send it in requests, and we can't just chunk it in any old fashion, because Google, if we send in half a sentence and half a word, it would probably confuse Google Translate a little bit. So we want to be able to chunk it at the end of a sentence. So that's something to think about as well. Oh, the background's changed. Magic. Now, and the lighting's not so good. Sorry about that. By the way, I'm just using my built-in webcam and microphone on my little computer. I don't have special lighting or anything, so I'm sorry about the quality of me in the corner. Let's do the chunking of the text. So here we are in the everything controller. So I'm just going to put in a private. Is it like with a, no, is it just like that? Private function to chunk. Chunk text. Chunk text by sentence. Now I've come from Java. I'm using camel case here. I think that with Ruby we're supposed to probably use underscores. I keep getting confused about what's the the recommended naming styles, things, in different languages. So let's work out how to do this. We'll go up and we'll get Ruby tokenize string split so split by so what I could do is I could split it into sentences. So I'm going to chunk by sentence. What I need to do is here's one way of doing it. I could split it into okay, I've got a character limit here. I can split the text into sentences. Using a full stop, what Americans call a period. Now, it's not perfect. There might be other reasons for using this character other than ending a sentence, but we're just going to assume that's going to be okay, because it's not that important in our case. Then, so that should give us an array of sentences, and then I'll join them back together. So let's see if they're chunks. Get an array, and then I loop on the sentences. How do I do this? So I want to join. Yeah, here we go. So let's make a chunk. So chunk dot append. Stop it. Chunk dot. How do you join a chunk? Join the sentence onto the chunk, and then if the chunk size is bigger than jar limit, then we well, let's make an upper limit. So I'd check the size before I join the sentence on. So then we put it into chunks, and we also set it to 0. Now what I'm nervous about now is this, whether it will affect the chunk in the array or not. We'll find out when we test it. I'm doing that. And then if chunk dot what's the opposite of blank? Present. So what I like to do is I can use the Rails console. It puts me in a Ruby on Rails environment. I can test things. Like it's just like the Ruby interactive environment, but with the Rails extras added. So I can check things like this. Chunk is that. If that, I want to say. See what this function does. It's false, and then here it's true. Yeah. So we so that's what we want. If we ended up with, we got through the sentences and it didn't happen to end on the end of a chunk, then we want to add the last chunk in. If that makes sense. Yeah. So we chunk the sentences. Okay, so now we can chunk it. So response. Yeah. So we're going to put the chunking in here. Put the chunking in here. So many chunks equals chunk text by sentence. So I'm going to give it 3000 to give it a nice big buffer. Should be good amount. I'm not going to have a sentence with 2000 characters, I hope. And we're going to so in chunks. And what I'm going to do here is just to see if I can. What I'll do is I'll put the first sermon chunk in, and then so I'm just going to make sure I am actually returning the right thing from this. Ruby has this nice thing where you don't have to put a return statement, but sometimes you don't know exactly what you're returning if you don't put the return statement. So whatever the last is evaluated comes out. Okay, so now I put in that first chunk, and then if the sermon chunks bigger than 1, then we'll do this again. We'll send another chunk. This is not going to be my final code. I'll just sort of test the chunking works. Now, to test the chunking works, really what I should do is use unit testing. I'm so bad at doing that. So bad at. So here I am not unit testing. We'll do some unit testing. We'll do some. And then we will in our where is it? This one. We will just check if we've got a second chunk. Okay, and if we have a second chunk, we'll put it in as another paragraph, and we'll just to make sure we know this is the second chunk. We'll put in that. Okay. Now we're going to see what's going on like this. Where are we here? So this, that's no good. I expected only one chunk to come through there. So why am I not getting that right? Okay, so I have a hunch that it's somewhere like what I was thinking about here, where so I'm gonna duplicate this chunk when I pass it into the array, so that when I didn't do it that time. So when I set it to nothing, let's just see if that works. I feel like let's give it a try. Here we go now. Nope. Okay, so what is going wrong? Let's see. When it's a short text, we're expecting. In fact, we didn't have any sentences, so we're expecting to get an array with just one item in here. Then we make an array, then we make an empty string, then for each item of the single item, if it's bigger than the child is not, then we drop it in a duplicate in the array, set that to 0, then we add the sentence. No, so we don't do this, we do this. And and then this should be true. We should drop it in. That should be just one in there. So let's put a debug statement in. So that should be one, and then when we come out, we get here 7 chunks. Should be right, so so we shouldn't get. It's just there. That's it. I put that with wrong place. Get rid of this. It'll work now. I'm not sure this is necessary. Let's leave it out again. See if that helps. Okay. Go do this with this. Yeah. Now, let's put something big in there. I'll just go and find something. Okay, so I've got an actual sermon here. And I'm pretty sure it's more than 5,000 characters. Let's see what happens when I do this. Yes! Oh no, just realized this text is the same as this text here, so that's not right. What's going on? What's going on there? That's what's going on. Okay. Okay, let's try that again. Here it is. Okay. Aha. Good. That's different. Okay. So that looks like the chunker is chunking it into decent sized chunks. We'll put it all together, so let's delete that again. And go back to here. And we want to get the chunks. Start off with that, and we will loop on the chunks and just add them all together back into one text. My phone again. Okay. Okay. So we'll make it looping. Okay. So we need to put this in there, and we need to get rid of this. This we need to add them together. This one is this. Okay. You know, there's a chance that Google will strip off a space in the translation and the response, in which case I will add a space. Like that. Even a paragraph break might get stripped, but we'll lose it. That's okay for now. We need to work on, because we've got, I'm imagining, so there's some sort of, what have we got here? Look, the quote marks are like this, and there's obviously no paragraph breaks here, So I'm imagining we'll take the original text in the final version. We'll take this text and we'll actually put in some HTML tags or something for the breaks, because I believe that Google Translate doesn't translate the HTML tags. And then we can whenever we make the PDF file at the end, we can work out what to do with them, because they'll come through and we'll get the. So here we are. Look, that's the whole thing in one chunk. We'll chunked and then spliced together, or whatever you call it. So good. Good, that's working. Okay. Now before we wrap up this video and make our last commit, our first commit I should say, there's one thing we need to deal with. This key here, I don't want it sticking out in the source code and being committed to an online repository. So I'm going to move it. Now there's a file here called secrets, and it's for putting secret stuff in, I suppose. So so what I'll do is I'll put the key in here. Oops. There it is, by the magic of video editing, and then I can use that in how does this work? In the thing here, we should figure that. I think it's Rails dot. How does it work? Secret. There's a way to access the secret. So yeah, what does it say? That's just about this thing. So I need to find out how to so the yeah, rails.application.secrets, key name. Okay, so then we can use the secrets. G, what was it called? G select key. Okay, it appears to be working. Okay. Now this is okay for now, but I might have to do something more like this, which is an environment variable. When we put this code onto the server to run like live on a server. Yeah, because I don't want to. Yeah, so the way we're going to do it is with Heroku, which is great for launching Rails applications. But the way it works is you just push it using Git as a remote repository to Heroku, and it sets it up and runs it. So you have to have the code that you're pushing in your Git. But right now I'm going to ignore this code, but later on I will. So using git ignore. Now this git ignore is there, gets set up for you by Rails when it initialized this project, and by the magic of same magic as before, I can put in this so it doesn't go into my code repository, and I'll also ignore this folder which is to do with my IDE, which I don't need to put in. And that's it. So now I can make my first commit, and I will change the API key, and I will post the link to the repository under the video down here. I think this is new to me. Okay. Well, I wanted to implement the language selection for this video, but I think we'll leave it for next time, so you look forward to that. In that one we'll use the models part of the framework, which I mentioned before, and we'll also do some testing using the unit testing, and we'll try to do I'll introduce you to test-driven development, which is something that I would like to do better myself. So we can look forward to getting into that next time. If there'll be a next time, hopefully there will be. Oh, well, thanks for watching. This is my very first YouTube video, so please be gentle in the comments. And I was inspired to do this video by MPJ, who has a channel called FunFunFunction. If you're not subscribed to that channel, you really should be. So go ahead and subscribe to that channel. And that's all from me. There, I've done the video now. You satisfied? You want me to upload it too? You monster!